Alright, welcome back. Nice uneventful stint there. We're about 26 miles away from Alder. So time to start planning this descent. I popped open the GPS so I can keep a handy eye on what's going on. Shift 2 once again. Bring up the AFE and we'll start the descent planning.
26 inches please. Setting 26 inches.
You'll see the manifold pressures drop to 26 inches.
Set. Descent checkpoints, please.
And the descent checks.
Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On. Engine blowers low. Low. Descent checks are complete.
Alright, complete. So let's pop on down to the autopilot here. We'll turn off altitude hold and pitch nose down and try to establish 500 foot per minute rate of descent. Now, unlike a jet, which has far too much power and will typically slow down in a descent unless it's a crazy descent, that's not the case with the period aircraft. It's quite normal to see them actually pick up speed or at least maintain speed. You're going to see that now. So there's 500 feet. Watch our speed. It's going to creep up a little bit. That's completely fine. Don't worry about it. Now, incidentally, while you're using the AFE like this, and he's in maintaining mode right now, and you can see there's still green, he has control of the throttles and the power. You don't. So if I were to move the power levers at this point, nothing will happen. It's important once I come out of this descent at 5,000 feet that I tell him in range. That basically gives me control of the throttles. So I have found, working through the tutorial a number of times, that I still can't get the speed down very well once we get down to 5,000 feet. So I do need to take control of the power, reduce power. You will find if you reduce under... Where is it? If you reduce the BMAC to 60, you will start to get a horn warning if you don't have the gear down. That button there cancels the landing gear warning sound, so that's useful to know as well, otherwise it will drive you crazy. So we're in our descent, 500 feet per minute, coming down nicely. Let's check our progress. Yep, looking good. 17 miles to Alder. And that's Sidug, Kidug. We're going to turn to the right to 022 to intercept the 340 radial and then land. Incidentally, I was thinking about this earlier today. There's more and more add-on manufacturers, in particular scenery manufacturers, now starting to drop FSX and just focus on prepared and prepared version 4. Do I believe that the end of FSX is in sight? Well, I've been saying that it is in sight for quite some years now, and I think actually that's true. Now, I try to avoid using FSX as much as possible. It's just too much of a hassle to set up, and even prepared version 4, it took me good 2 to 3 hours yesterday, patching everything, updating everything, reinstalling stuff, trying to get everything to work just the way I wanted it to work, and then tweaking upon tweaking upon tweaking to get the frame rates where I wanted them to be to film. So the legacy of pain that is FSX is not completely gone away with prepared version 4, but it is considerably lessened, and I'm very happy to say goodbye to it. What does that mean for the channel, by the way, while we're filming this? Well, it doesn't mean anything. You know, I do plan to get back into filming more videos like this, flying videos, and typically the add-ons that I film are available in FSX as well as prepared, so it's unlikely for quite some time into the future you're going to see prepared only videos. Everything you're seeing and everything I'm doing is equally applicable to FSX. But if you are able to, I do recommend changing as soon as you can, although there is of course some considerable expense, not only in terms of buying the sim, but for many of the add-ons, rebuying the add-ons, which is a shame. Alright, still descending nicely. Now, there's actually a ridgeline coming up. You can see us moving around. I don't know if that's active sky doing that, but I have noticed I'm getting updrafts when I pass over ridgelines. Look at the rate of descent now. See that? As we pass over this ridge, it's kind of killed my rate of descent. The updrafts from the ridgeline have really affected that. I'm not going to mess with the autopilot because I know that when I pass this ridge, it will drop again and we'll be descending again. I just found that an interesting little thing. You can see the outside wind buffeting us quite a lot. The speed indicator is changing quite a lot here. There we go. Our rate of descent just dropped again. Looking for 5,000 feet, which will level off until the AFE in range. Let's pop open the GPS and see how we're doing. There we go. 5 miles to Alder. No, I think it's about 12 miles up to the next waypoint. Beautiful scenery here, shadowing on the hills. This river, by the way, is what Vector does. Orbex Vector will put in things like these rivers and railroads and more realistic roads and things like that. Adds to the immersion. Off to the right, we should see Mount Rainier off in the distance. I'm not sure if that's it. I don't think that is. You keep an eye, 5,500. There it is, over there. Very famous mountain volcano, in fact, just outside Seattle. Okay, leveling off at 5,000 and doing altitude hold is just the same in descent as it is in climb. So I'm going to change my view. I can see my altitude, my rate of descent. And we're going to reduce the negative pitch, so bring the nose up as we pass 5,200 to slow the rate of descent. We don't need to be crazy about it. We're only descending at 500 feet per minute. Oh! Another ridge there, or buffet of wind, look. I'm not going to mess with it. Yeah, I do need to mess with it. Alright, we're going to pitch down. Just to make sure we do come down to 5,000. We can't be spending too long messing about up here. 5,100 now. Oof, there we go. Now it's dropping quite dramatically. So nosing up, nosing up, nosing up, and altitude hold. Right about now. Okay, with that done, we are in range.
Cooling turbine. Normal.
7 miles.
Fuel booster pumps.
Notice the speed is not coming down.
Fuel tank selectors.
Not going to worry about that at this point too much. I will once we get established.
No smoking signs.
So down here, we're going to switch off localizer mode onto just gyropilot, which is straight and level. Go back up here, switch this into VLOC, and we will turn with this round to 2020 once again. See, we're starting to turn. We're in altitude hold. Watching these needles here, the OBS needles, to indicate when the ILS is about to come alive. You'll see it jump to the left, then it will sweep right. As it sweeps to the right, that's where we'll put it back in localizer mode to track the localizer. A little bit too far. Let's level up, but that should be fine. I'd rather have more than less on this. Watch those needles. Let's go a little bit left here, try to get back on 20. Gentle adjustments. Takes a while for this aircraft to stabilize after you adjust anything here. There. Level. And again, watching the needles. There. Everything lit up here. There's the needle. We'll switch this into localizer now. As that centers, now. Let it track the localizer. Don't have a glide slope yet, that's just fine. Speed is slowly coming down, not worried about it at this point. We do have 13 miles to go. Now this is a first. I've not seen the aircraft turn to the right like this. Normally it's just fine. I've lost the localizer. Alright, so having lost the localizer, let's go down here again. Let's put this back into gyropilot mode. We'll turn to the right. We'll bring it all the way around to about, I guess, there, 270. Obviously went a little bit too far there.
2 hours later.
It's starting to move. No, doesn't want to know. Okay, so we'll put this back into gyro. We'll turn off the autopilot, and we'll do this all by hand, which is actually the better way of doing it anyway. So there's the needle. We're going to track that around to the left, hold 5,000 feet. We can close the GPS at this point. I have control. Flying this is a challenge because it's so slow and graceful. You need to plan ahead a little bit. Otherwise things can get all sorts of out of control, as you just saw. Oh, there's the glide slope. Alright, we'll just establish ourselves at 330 until we pick up that localizer again. Runway's over here. Holding 5,000 feet. I do want to drop some speed once we get on the localizer, and certainly once we get onto the glide path. But I don't want to be dropping altitude, so I'm going to keep this up at 5,000. Already noticed there the altitude starting to drop. Alright, the needle's moving now. We'll start a very slow turn to the right. Hopefully come out on 340 with the needle centered. Whoa, climbing, so we'll trim this nose down. A little bit of wind here. Okay, now at this point I want to take control of the throttles, so I'm going to tell it before landing.
Flaps 20.
Now I have the throttles. Now he said flaps 20, but he's not going to do it until we hit the appropriate speeds. I'm pulling back on the power now. You can hear the gear horn, so we're going to turn off the alarm. There. Watch the speed come down. Once we hit the appropriate speeds, he will actually extend the flaps. And we want to be descending. Notice the nose ballooned up a lot because of those big flaps coming out. So I need to get a little bit of an abnormal rate of descent here. I think I found on the previous DC-6 video that the DC-6 does feel like a very nose-heavy aircraft when you're landing, that you do tend to be pointing downwards a little bit more than is comfortable. So far it's worked out just fine though. Speed's coming down nicely, gear is down, we're at flaps 20, not going to worry about landing flaps 30 until we get a lot closer. The extra drag from the gear is helping to keep the speed down.
Gear down and locked.
Gear down and locked.
Drops. 2400 RPM.
Just trimming now, and we're going to start feeding in some power to slow the rate of descent as we come in, intercept the glide slope.
Cal flaps. +3 degrees. Cal flaps set. ADI. ADI off.
It's stand to descend a little bit faster, so just backing off the power a little bit.
Speed good. Extending lights.
Lights are extended.
Lights extended and on. Power main. Calming cold. Before landing checks complete.
Trying to hold the same pitch. Keeping a very close eye on my speed. I don't want to become a flying brick. There. A bit more power now. Bring that speed back up to 110, 120-ish. And follow this all the way in. We're slightly off to the right. Getting pushed around a little bit by the breeze. Lots of trim inputs now. I have found every time on landing this I do tend to come in a little bit too high. I haven't quite figured out the knack on that one, but it always ends up exactly how I want it, so not too bothered if we remain a little bit too high, and we are right now. See, there's three runways up ahead. We're going on the far left one, that's runway 34 left in Seattle. Typical Seattle weather it looks like. Overcast and murky, thankfully not raining. Speed's good, rate of descent's good. We're pretty much established. Still not worrying about landing flaps. We'll do that a lot closer. We'll just go straight from flaps 20 to flaps 30. stand to descend a little bit quicker at this point, so we will. Just easing off the engines. That will increase the rate of descent. Being mindful to keep the pitch where I had it. Speed's coming down to dangerous numbers, so a bit more power now. Want to be about 105 as we cross the threshold of the runway. This feels good. Let me quickly show you what we look like outside. There we are, looking beautiful. Now I am using Orbex Vector, and that tends to adjust airport elevations, and I know in the case of Seattle it's kind of lifted the airport up a couple of feet, so you're going to see an unusual ridgeline around Seattle Airport. Don't worry about it too much, but that's why when you see it shortly. Yeah, a little bit too high at this point, all white lights, so we will adjust the trim, pitch down a little bit, and reduce power. Try to get back on path here. A little bit of wind from the left, it seems, feeding in some left rudder there to compensate. Okay, looking a little bit better now. Now this is going to mess me up. Full flaps. Watch that rate of descent. We don't want it to shallow off, which it did actually start to do there. Alright, fitting in some power. Speed's dropping dangerously low. Bringing the nose up now, and we're established on fire. Not paying any attention to the ILS now, just looking out the window, following the lights, keeping a good picture of that runway. Ideally you want that runway to be completely vertical, not off to one side, not at an angle, completely straight up vertical. A trick I tend to use is to try to get the center line going between my real world legs. That typically means I'm going to be on or close to the center line when I touch down. A bit more power. We are a little bit too low, slow. Sorry, not low. Oh, lots of pitch and trim adjustments now. There's that ridge I was telling you about. Very odd. Middle marker. I'm slightly to the left of the center line at this point if I'm trying to get that center line on the runway to line up between my knees. There we go, and as we cross the threshold, going to reduce power. Now. And pull back to flare. Nice gentle touchdown. Alright, gently on the brakes. Not going to get that first exit. We'll bring up the airfield at this point and tell him after landing. Speed's looking good. Flaps up. We'll take this exit. Now I'm not flying with any AI traffic, obviously no ATC. So we're just going to take this exit here, cross the other two runways, and go to where the Pmdg team are waiting patiently to get their aircraft back after this test drive. So, what do I think? What do I think? Obviously I'm biased. Let's get that out of the way. I love everything Pmdg do. But I gotta say, it's interesting, isn't it? We have two, at least two. I'm actually discounting the Stratoliner a little bit, but we have at least two heavy study level period airliners right now in prepared in FSX. That being the Connie from A2A and now the DC-6 from Pmdg. The Connie, I think, performs better, and I think the level of integration of captain of the ship with the aircraft and, you know, the virtual flight crew and the persistence of the aircraft and everything else is beyond what Pmdg have done. But that said, though, this is a Pmdg aircraft. You know, I'm sorry, but there's not much they can do wrong as long as they do what they are supposed to do, which is produce a study level simulation of the airframe, which they have. So without doubt, this is without doubt the best DC-6 in FSX and prepared. I think there are two others. This is the best, and I think it makes a worthy addition to the stable. In the same way, you know, it's interesting, in the same way the FS Labs A320 is a great aircraft. The Majestic Dash 8 Q400 is a great study level aircraft. And the Pmdg 737 NGX is a great study level aircraft. It's very hard to say if one is better than the other. If possible, get all of them, and I think that's the case with this DC-6. If you like period airliners, you got to get this one, and you got to go and get A2A's Connie as well, which I need to do videos on. You know, they both have the same intent, to recreate and to capture the essence of what it was like to be a civil aviation transport pilot or commercial passenger pilot in the 40s and 50s. I like it. I like it a lot. It's a lot of fun to fly, even with the AFE. I'm looking forward to working through the other tutorial, which of course, as I said, I will film. I promise I will film it. I know I've been really bad at breaking my promises because I've been so busy. I will film it. I will film it. I will film it. And then get a little bit more in depth. I also want to start filming the Connie as well, which is a beautiful aircraft. Very, very, very beautiful. Alright, there's the A2A crew waiting for me. I promised them I'd have this back half an hour ago. Sorry, guys. But what I do want to do is get up here and show you the externals and the animations and the final phase of flight, which I never put in a video, but I will now. So let's stop here. Let's apply some parking brakes. We'll tell our dude parking checklist.
Parking brake set. Cut engines.
Cut engines. So let's pop on outside and take a look. And then we can show you some of these external animations, which are very cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the chocks in here. Oh, no, they're not going to do that because the props are turning. Nobody is going to go anywhere near these wheels with a spinning propeller. So now the props have started to slow down. Nope, still can't do it. I like that. That's a nice touch. There's the chocks. Now the chocks are in. Let's open the main exit, which will be this door here. And let's bring up the main cabin stairs. Incidentally, the AFE is going to open the front cabin exit and lower the built-in stairs. Let's go over here. I won't click anything. You'll see that when it happens, when he says checks complete. Again, a nice touch. There it goes. And out come the stairs after the door. There we go. Superb.
Parking checks complete. Airplane secured.
Aircraft is secured. Parking checks are complete. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. Let's open the cargo holds and take a look. Now, for those of you who don't know, if you do have a camera tool like this, Pmdg do hide in every aircraft. It used to be a, what do you call it, a pogo stick. Now it's typically a pogo stick and a Segway. I'm not going to show you where they are in this, but see if you can find them if you go and get this aircraft yourself. Look at this beautiful model though. Absolutely amazing. Superb. Superb. More to come. More to come. There will be more to come. I promise. I promise. I promise. Please forgive me for letting you down so much. As always, my name is Froogle. Thank you so very much for watching. And until next time, I'll see you all very soon.